It was a pretty lackluster month for PSVR2 in September. We had a couple of big hitters that were very good in my opinion. Some people enjoyed Crossfire, some people enjoyed Firewall, but we had a few releases that were not up to par in terms of resolution, like Green Hell VR, and we're looking to fix that with October because we have too many games to count with this list in today's video. Let's get going with one of my most hyped releases of this month that only got announced recently, and that is the PSVR2 upgrade for Red Matter. Most of us loved Red Matter 2 when it came to PSVR2, but I never played the original because it was locked to the original PSVR1 headset, which is an incredibly dated piece of tech. But now Vertigo Robot are bringing the PSVR2 version for free for original owners of the PSVR1 version, or for a £20 fee if you're buying the PSVR2 version outright. This will have the same puzzle elements as the original, and I'm looking forward to picking up this one on PSVR2 when it arrives on October 5th. Next up on the same day, we have Stellaris Ghost Signal, which is the spin-off Stellaris game, which is a massive franchise on the flat screen, bringing itself onto PSVR2 again on October 5th. This one takes the roguelike approach to its gameplay as you head through uncharted space in a third-person point of view, commanding a ship and doing separate runs again and again as you do in the roguelike genre. I haven't really heard too much else in terms of the gameplay of this one because I'm trying to go into it blind, but if you're a roguelike fan or a fan of Stellaris or space games in general, this has got nothing but rave reviews when it first came out on the Quest. So I've been eagerly awaiting this one on PSVR2 and it's finally here, also on October 5th. I'll have a video out on this game when the embargo lifts on that date. But if you haven't heard of Ghost Signals before, put it on your list because this is meant to be one of the best Quest 2 games and I'm sure it's going to look amazing on PSVR2. Next up is a game that I don't think anybody really asked for, but it's a game that exists and existed on PSVR1, and that is Angry Birds VR I Love Pigs, which basically brings the flat screen Angry Birds gameplay to the PSVR2 headset. I don't know whether this one is really going to sell that well or if people are really excited for it. I'm definitely not, but if you want a game for, say, a younger player on the PSVR2, this is probably going to be one for them if they like the franchise, or even if they don't, it's just quite a colourful and fun game, and I'm sure it will make good use of the Sense controllers in terms of flinging birds at the structures. But again, I'm not really excited for this one, but it is coming out on October 10th, so keep an eye out for that if you're looking for some games to show off to a younger audience. On the 19th of October, we have the 7th Guest VR. This is bringing over the classic 7th Guest game into PSVR2 and other VR headsets. It's a horror, mystery, adventure game that I'm actually really intrigued by because it takes a bit of a weird gameplay approach of transferring a very, very old game onto a new piece of hardware, and I'm always down for ports like that. And from what I've heard, it's going to be a completely from the ground up rework of the game with all the same story elements and beats as the original, and a lot of people who've played the original are very excited for this one, so keep an eye out for that on the 19th as we get further into spooky season. This is the first game that's really going to kick off that list of horror games that's coming out in October for PSVR2. So on the 19th, yet again, we have the 7th Guest VR. Just one day after that, we have Tennis on Court, which is a complete tonal shift in terms of PSVR2 games for October, but it's looking to be a very solid sports game. We've had a couple of these like C-Smash BRS, and I've always been waiting for Rec Room with its various sport modes to come over to PSVR2, but as we wait for that, we have quite an interesting game, Tennis on Court. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure what the price tag is going to be. I'd guess around £30, and for that level of gameplay, I'm not sure if that's quite worth it for me, but if I do get my hands on a review key, I'll be sure to cover it, and from what we can see here, it looks pretty polished, pretty fun, and I'm sure in multiplayer, be a lot of fun to play around with friends. Keep an eye out for that, Tennis on Court, for all you people who like your fitness and sport PSVR2 games. That is coming on the 20th of October. Next up is a title that I've been waiting for a very long time, and that is Vertigo 2. It does, have a 2 at the end of the name. This is the second Vertigo game, but from what the dev says, you can just jump in the second game and not need any sort of context from the original, and this is the one PSVR2 game that I'm really looking forward to because it rivals that of AAA VR games in terms of polish, story, and immersion. From all the comments that I've seen about Vertigo 2, it rivals Half-Life Alyx in terms of its gameplay and its visuals and its world building, so I'm incredibly excited to jump into Vertigo 2. I'm jumping in blind. I'll have my review up on that hopefully a couple days after launch, unless I can get a key beforehand. But if there's one game you're going to pay attention to this month that's definitely coming out this month on the 24th, it's Vertigo 2, because this is supposedly one of the best VR games ever made, and we're finally getting it ported to PSVR 2. Let's just hope that the team who are porting it do a good enough job of keeping the original intact and making it look really, really good and incorporating all the PSVR 2 features. But yet again, that's Vertigo 2 on the 24th, so keep an eye out for that one. It looks incredible. Next up is a game that I know a lot of other people have also been waiting for, and that is the official Ghostbusters VR game. This is a co-op, essentially a shooter against ghosts, taking place in the universe of Ghostbusters with all of the cars, the outfits, the gadgets, all of that good stuff. And I know a lot of people who I play with who are very excited for this, and I can't wait to jump in and try it out. These devs in Dreams always deliver a pretty incredible product, so I'd expect no less from Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord. Although from what I've seen, it is prioritizing Quest first and foremost. It's one of the flagship Quest 3 games that's coming out after the Quest 3's release. So in terms of graphical fidelity, I'm hoping for something that looks sharp, but I know that we're not going to get, the texture and resolution of games like Red Matter 2 or Horizon Call the Mountain. But as long as it has fun gameplay, I think it justifies the £30-ish price tag. I'm all for more co-op PSVR2 games, as we don't really have too many of those, so I'm looking forward to this one on October 26th. On the same day as Ghostbusters, we have Journey to Foundation, a game that I really didn't know too much about, but I know it's based on Isaac Asimov's Foundation series. So it's a sci-fi game that involves a lot of espionage, supposedly quite a long story with a lot of characters, choices to make that will affect the story, which gives it a nice balance on the 26th for a fun PSVR2 co-op game like Ghostbusters to have something like this, Journey to Foundation, on the same day. I'm just hoping the devs here haven't bitten off more than they can chew in terms of development time and how much the game actually spans, because from what they've said, it seems like a massive undertaking. I'm hoping it lives up to all the promises that they've made in terms of gameplay and story, but I will keep one eye open just to make sure that this isn't an unpolished mess when it comes out. But from what we've seen, it looks pretty incredible visually, and I'm always down for more story-based interactive games on PSVR 2. From what I've seen, it reminds me a bit of Hubris in terms of the way it's structured and the combat and the sights that you're going to see. So I'm very hyped for this one, but also a little bit cautious because it seems like a very expansive game. We'll have to wait and see how it performs on PSVR 2. If I get a key, I'll be sure to cover it as always and let you guys know. But that's it, Journey to Foundation on the 26th. Keep an eye out for that one if you're a PSVR 2 sci-fi fan like I am. Penultimately, we have the Foglands, which is another roguelike, and one with a twist, to be honest, because this was announced for PSVR 2 back at a State of Play, or the PlayStation Showcase, I can't remember exactly which one, and I thought it looked pretty damn fun. I'm always open to another roguelike. I really enjoy the Light Brigade. Any games like that give you a lot of replay value, and I think the Foglands is looking to be a more horror-oriented version of that, really, and I'm all for that. But what's weird about this one is that it's also a flat game. It doesn't have any multiplayer aspects, so you can't jump into flat and VR and play with friends, but it is a game where you can make a couple of runs in the headset, and if you get tired, you can take it off and continue those runs on the flat screen, and that's something that I've actually never seen before, I don't think, on a PSVR 2 game, and it's kind of ingenious to ensure more sales, because people can just buy it flat and never play it in VR like they can with games like Resi 8. I'm always a fan of games like Hunt Showdown that have revolvers and old western settings in guns, and this seems to carry that theme pretty far in its design and its gameplay, so I'm very excited for the Foglands, and that drops on October 31st, so just in time for Halloween. And finally, we have Phasmophobia. This still is unconfirmed in terms of a release date, and this is turning into another VR Skater situation where I add it at the start of every single month we have, but I'm convinced that Phasmophobia is going to drop this month because they're past the studio fire that they had last month to prevent them from launching, although they did say that they needed more time anyway, but I'm hoping they'll bring out the game just in time for Halloween because it would be the perfect game to play. This is yet another flat and VR game, except this is in the co-op horror genre, so you can jump in with up to 3 friends, hunt ghosts around different maps like asylums and haunted houses, get money, get upgrades, get equipment, and as a fan of BuzzFeed Unsolved, this game has always been on my radar. But I've never played it on Steam, on PC. I've been waiting for the PSVR 2 port that's always been rumoured, and now it's been announced. Let's just hope it comes out in October, which it's currently slated for, but if you want to keep up with their Discord, I'll leave a link in the description to that, because all the news about the game is dropped there, but we'll have to wait and see. This is probably tied with Vertigo 2 as my most anticipated game of October, so I really hope that it does come out on time. Anyway, that's all of the games that we've got in October of 2023 for PSVR 2. Let me know what your favourite game out of this list is, and if there are any other games that I've missed, because there's probably going to be 1 or 2. And always keep your eye open for any more releases, because a lot of companies do just like to shadow drop these games in the middle of the month, out of absolutely nowhere. But anyway, if you did enjoy, feel free to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you all in the next video.